Howdy, friends. It's Steve DePaul again with the Rose Realty team with this week's real estate vlog for North Texas. It's that time of year again. You know what time of year that is. It's time for our eighth annual Thanksgiving Fun Facts. You know, this is my favorite time of year because within the next 6 weeks or so, we do Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Eve fun facts. And those are my favorite because I get to dig up all this kind of weird stuff, right? And so some of the things in this year's Thanksgiving fun facts or stuff that maybe you've heard of before. I know at least one or two I've mentioned in the past, but I'm sort of running out of fun facts. Anyway, so let's get into it. So we're welcome to our special Thanksgiving Day fun facts vlog. We're diving into some surprising fun facts about one of our favorite beloved holidays, Thanksgiving, from quirky traditions to little known history facts. We're gonna hope to kind of tickle your intelligence bone and give you some things to talk about around the Thanksgiving table this year. Do me a favor, please. If you bring any of these things up, please come back and make and do and submit sort of a note or on our YouTube channel so that we know that people are enjoying these and you're getting the upper hand. Okay, so let's get into it. So the early settlers, when they came over, the Pilgrims, when they came over, they were considering making Thanksgiving a day of prayer and not fasting, which makes some amount of sense, right? Because the Pilgrims, when they were coming over, were escaping Europe for religious reasons, religious freedom, and so they came on over, and it makes sense that they were gonna do Thanksgiving Day as a day of fasting and prayer as opposed to feasting and stuff in your face, right? So that just makes a whole lot of sense. I know we've said this before. In 1863, President Lincoln declared Thanksgiving a national holiday. We didn't exactly pick the date yet, right? But it was during the Civil War, and he wanted to declare it a national holiday to kind of lift everybody's spirits a little bit. And he was sort of pressured by Sarah Josephia Hale. She was the one that wrote Mary Had a Little Lamb. And so there's two fun facts. And she kind of was pressuring Lincoln to say, hey, let's make this a national holiday. He eventually did in 1863. And as they say, the rest is history. Swanson in 1953 bought too many frozen turkeys, and so people kind of collected them up, you might want to call it. Had them for Thanksgiving, and then on that Friday, right? Today we call it Black Friday, but on the Black Friday, they had too many turkeys, and they were saying like, well, what do we do with them? Well, they decided to use their heads and take these frozen turkeys, chop them up, and then create what it's now become the TV dinner. So they did that by sort of necessity because they had all these extra turkeys and they were just, frozen turkeys, and they would just go to waste. And so they created the Thanksgiving dinner. Fresh cranberries, on the other hand, bounce like rubber balls. So that's how farmers sometimes check them to make sure that the cranberries are ripe and fresh by bouncing them. And if they bounce, like a rubber ball would, then they know that the cranberry is ripe and it's in good shape and it's ready to pick, and then eventually turn it into cranberry sauce or cranberry cake or cranberry pie, after you buy them from your local Kroger. Okay. The first Thanksgiving Day football game, now we knew about this, was in 1876. was the first Thanksgiving Day football game. It was long before the Detroit Tigers, excuse me, Detroit Lions made it a practice of losing on, Thanksgiving. It was in 1876 when that tradition started, way back when. Um, so interestingly enough, of the 102 passengers that came over on the Mayflower, only about half of them were religious separatists who were escaping Europe or England because of religious reasons. The rest that came over were adventurers and merchants and tradesmen. So they came over. I guess I'm going to say that all of them were really adventurers because who knew what was going to happen when they got here, and who knows what they were going to face. They didn't have reservations for Thanksgiving, but they didn't know what they were going to face once they got here. So those 102 passengers were, pioneers. But again, only half of the 102, which means around 50-ish or 51-ish, were actually religious separatists and were leaving England for religious reasons. Turkeys can recognize each other by the distinctive vocalizations that they have. There's over 20 distinctive vocalizations, and you can tell, turkeys can anyway, tell the difference between one and another. So you can tell whether, that's somebody I know from the past, or whether, they got eaten for Thanksgiving and that's somebody else. But actually, the turkey and the centerpiece on our Thanksgiving dinner is a lot smarter than we give them credit for. During the 1940s, when World War II was going on, right? And there was blackouts all the time, right? Well, so the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade was kicking off, right? And they needed something to kind of lift everybody's spirits because everybody was like down because of the war, and there was rationing going on and all that kind of stuff. So they televised the Thanksgiving Day Parade to lift everybody's spirits, which then became obviously, the tradition that we see today. Although I'm not sure that the current state of the Thanksgiving Day Parade anybody expected back in the 1940s, but that's where it started anyway. And then lastly, Ben Franklin. It's well known that Ben Franklin liked the turkey better than the bald eagle for our national bird. He thought that the turkey was a more respectable bird, and so that he wanted to have the turkey be the national bird instead of the eagle. Little did he know that everybody would be eating the national bird, on Thanksgiving as opposed to admiring the eagle as one of the symbols of the greatness of the United States. So I think maybe Ben, who I kind of like, but Ben was off the mark on that one there, right? So, hey, there you have it. Our eighth annual Thanksgiving Day fun facts. I hope some of those were surprising to you. I know some of them were a repeat, but I hope you enjoyed them. As you're sitting down watching, eating dinner this year, or watching a football game, maybe you could bring out some of these fun facts. Let us know. I mean, like I said, go back to our YouTube site. That would be at Moving to Dallas, Texas. And if you haven't already like and subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Hey, I brought up the thing about the Swanson dinners, and nobody knew about them, Um, but at the end of the day, hey, look, from the Rose Realty team, from Joanne, Danny, and Mary, and especially from Rose and I, we hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving Day, your dinner, your partying and visiting with the friends and family as we kick off the holiday season. And we hope you have a joyful, warm Thanksgiving and holiday season as we move ahead. Not to mention the fact that next week, we're going to talk about something that's kind of rather important. Protecting your family's future kind of starts with real estate, right? And if something were to happen to you today, or you were to choke on that Thanksgiving, turkey, the wishbone, right? Would your family know what your wishes are for your home and maybe your investment properties? So we're going to talk about protecting your family's wealth and protecting your family's legacy in next week's vlog. This is Steve with the Rose Realty team, again, wishing you and your family a safe and happy Thanksgiving. Until next time.